Now, the Braves, they're just a day away from resuming. Jamie Wood has shown up to be and shown out to be an incredible, incredible first half of the season. Historic, even if you will. Lights out, got excited, and it's good, to be excited. I think that sometimes we look so far ahead that sometimes we don't get to appreciate what's happening now. But okay, let's be real. We're all looking towards the end of the season, right? We can't help ourselves. So I was thinking about this. It's probably World Series or bust for most Braves fans, most of Braves country, right? So obviously the Dodgers, regardless of record, right, is still going to be on the heels of the Braves. But here's my question. Coming back second half of the season, what are some of the other teams, or who are some of the other teams that you see where you're kind of looking over your shoulder like, yeah, it's the Dodgers and yeah, the Braves are way here, but we still have to keep our eye on this team?
Keep your eye still in the division with the Phillies. You gotta, they're chomping at the bit as well. They're a good team, and they've been there.
Yes.
Last year wasn't a fluke. I think they're fully capable when fully healthy.
Yes.
I'm gonna take it back a few series ago as well with the Marlins, but along with them, the Cincinnati Reds.
Yeah.
Listen, great young squad who, in the series with them showed a bunch of promise. So when you're talking about just other division foes or other people within the National League, don't sleep on any of those teams. The Dodgers, of course,
Right.
in the NL West is at the top of the totem pole. You see who they have from top to bottom.
Right.
Pitching has been off and on for them this year.
True.
But I think they'll be right there in the end. But I think our Braves are doing everything they need to do. And don't forget, too, they aren't even healthy yet when it comes to pitching. And so when you're talking about getting the likes of Max Fried back, when you're talking about, pitchers that may come up with Mike Soroka that may re-enter the rotation. You never know. Shoring up the bullpen, everything that you kind of want this squad to be, at full bore going into that stretch. The Braves are clearly ahead of everyone else, but no, we should not sleep on any of these squads around. And I just named a couple, Miami as well. Right in there, they can absolutely hit the ball with former Brave Jorge Soler. So
yes,
hey, don't sleep on any of those squads.
I agree. And I think, when you tend to look at where these squads are right now, you can't help but, like you said, look at some of the ones that are kind of right behind and lurking, like you talked about with the Phillies, or one that might be surprisingly ahead, because we know the Dodgers are still going to be in it, but the Diamondbacks are number one in the NL West. So I look at that. And of course, the good thing is, as you went down that list, Braves win the series. Braves won that series. Braves won that series. That's the good thing I like. But I tell you, you teased something that we were going to talk about tomorrow, but boom, I'm doing an audible. So we're going to talk about it today because you threw it out there. So I'm coming back at you. Okay. We have all been waiting for the return, right? Like you said, of Max Fried and Kyle Wright. Michael Soroka might give the Braves a little bit more as well. But imagine this. What if, for whatever reason, and I am not putting negative things in the atmosphere of Braves country, but what if Kyle Wright and Max Fried don't quite get back until maybe the end of the season, if at all in the regular season? And Michael Soroka just kind of goes, up, down, maybe to Gwinnett, back down, to Gwinnett, that kind of thing. And this is all hypothetical. Alex Anthopoulous actually doesn't make any big move or splash at the trade deadline. Could this team, Jamie, as currently constructed, can you see this team making it back to the World Series?
Absolutely, as long as they keep hitting the way they are. If you look at the way the All-Star, even with the All-Star game, just all those Braves within the infield and just throughout the roster, but they're absolutely not going to cover off the ball. They're scoring so many runs, but I think you have to have pitching in the playoffs. You do. Now, of course, a couple of years ago, you relied on timely hitting. You relied on culture. And I think Alex Anthopoulous believes in the culture of a ball club. I actually heard him talk talk about this the other day on an interview where he spoke about bringing in pieces, but bringing in the right pieces. And
Yes.
so when it comes to things that they do in general, I think it has to be the right piece. And I'm gonna just go ahead and say it: the best general manager in
Yeah.
sports,
No question. Yeah.
hands down.
Yeah.
Everything he touches has been gold, has been absolute gold for this squad. And
Yeah.
all they have to do is just go and play.
Yep.
But when you're talking about bringing in the correct pieces, the year they were able to win the World Series, the likes of a Jock Peterson and others who were able to come in and kind of galvanize the squad, I
Mm-hmm.
think if he doesn't make any moves and just believes in culture, I think
Yes.
the fan base is reassured that they are at the best and that the decisions that AA makes is just fine. So I
Yeah.
think they fully could win the World Series standing pat, regardless of how some of those injuries may come out or
Yeah.
just the continuity that you may have bringing in those pieces so late in the
Yeah.
season. So yeah, I think they'll be fine. I think
I
they'll be
think
just
so
fine.
too. And you look at some of the major categories of stats wise, right? And outside of pitching, but when you look at hitting, hits, runs per game, home runs, OPS, all of it. When you talk about on base percentage and slugging, all of those categories, the Braves are at the top. They're number one in the entirety of Major League Baseball. So I think to your point, if they can continue doing that, and you and I haven't even had a conversation really about Austin Riley, because that's one, like you said, the consistency, because he's already there. So it's just a matter of when is he going to go off on one of his runs. So there's still some kind of gas left in the tank, if you will, for places where the Braves can improve with what they have now. And I want to add to just what you said in terms of hitting and pitching being important. But what we saw in that All-Star game, Austin Riley to Matt Olson, I'm like, that's also very much a signature of who the Braves are and what they bring to the table. That defense, I think, is also going to be critical for them to make a deep run and hopefully not just get back to the World Series, but ultimately to win the World Series. Now, before we wrap up, there is an interesting conversation, if you will, right? But the conversation kind of comes and goes based on what the likes of, say, the Oakland A's are going to do and when they're going to move to Vegas, etc. But Rob Manfred said recently that, yes, Major League Baseball is still considering expanding to cities like Salt Lake City and Nashville, if you will. And this is what my thought was. That would be good. Nashville's the odds-on favorite maybe to get that expansion team once everything kind of the dust settles, if you will. But Toronto's still in the running to get, a team back, or even Montreal, excuse me. Montreal is in the running to get a team back, right? But here's my thing. I heard somebody say this and it made me chuckle because they were like, wow, Nashville is right there in Braves country in the backyard. I wonder how Braves country feels about that. We don't.
No,
We don't.
we do not. You just got to look at the way this team was arranged.
Yes.
Give credit again to Ted Turner and his
That's what I was thinking, Jamie.
visionary spirit as far as the regionalism when it came to this squad. I'm from North Carolina.
Yep.
Always been a Braves fan. And I know
Same.
it wasn't many baseball teams around, but when you're talking about just the Braves being ingrained in the culture of where they are, hey, Nashville can have a squad. Nashville can have three. but it will still always be Braves country as
I
far as
think
I'm
the
concerned.
same here. And the funny thing is, the argument was back and forth about, who would you liken the Braves to in other sports, if you will. And of course, I'm a diehard Steelers fan. So my first thought was, how did I become one being from New Orleans originally? Well, it's because the branding, the winning, the culture, it spoke to me. So to this day, still a Steelers fan. Like you said, diehard Braves fan, did not grow up with a professional baseball team. So that's the one I took on, also the Yankees, but we're not going to mention it too much. Don't go in on me. Don't at me, people. But no, Braves are really, that's the team of choice. And like you said, it doesn't matter if they put a team in Nashville, Memphis, somewhere in Alabama, Mississippi, the Southeast, that's Braves country. That is Braves country. So listen, everydayers, if you guys think that maybe somehow, some way, it's going to make a difference to Braves country, if Rob Manfred and company decide to put a team in our backyard, let us know. Check us out on YouTube. You know what to do. Put something in the comment section. And hey, we just might mention it on air. And don't forget to download ATL Day Ones wherever you get your podcast, because you know what? You always want to know what we have to say about the culture.